What's going on, friends? Everybody loves a custom Harley-Davidson motorcycle, but when it comes to custom motorcycles, sometimes you can get just a little too custom with them. As you all know, you can order anything for a Harley-Davidson out of the catalog without one part from Harley-Davidson themselves, and that right there is what can get you into a lot of trouble when you go really far with it. No other manufacturer out there on the market today can you say that, yes, I can get into an aftermarket catalog or out on the internet and I can order brand new aftermarket parts, anything I want, and build a complete motorcycle in my garage without one single part from the manufacturer. I'm talking frames, I'm talking complete engines, engine components, anything you need, you can absolutely do it. And the shitty part about it is that honestly, these bikes are 9 times out of 10, when they're done right, they're better than anything that ever rolled off the line at Harley-Davidson as far as quality goes. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Pretty sad that we can outbuild an OEM manufacturer with literally just using aftermarket parts. Now, the thing with a custom motorcycle is, now whether you're building one or you're buying one, there's a couple of things on there that you want to be careful about, especially when it comes to registering and selling the bike, or even buying a motorcycle and trying to register it. Now, I'm not going to deny that I think people out in the world today, all over the place, can build their own Harley-Davidson motorcycle and do it better than the factory. That's not a secret right there. But the secret is that when you build a bike like this, or you go out to buy a bike like this, and you're using a custom frame, and you're using all aftermarket parts, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And as I mentioned, it's probably, I'm just gonna say it's better than the factory because all of these parts already have the factory defects worked out. Now, the big issue comes down to the title. What does the title say? Now, of course, if you've got a custom frame, you've got an aftermarket engine, you've got all that stuff, it's going to be titled as a custom motorcycle. Now, that right there makes all the difference in the world in terms of trying to sell the motorcycle or trying to buy one. That is what gets you into trouble right there, is having custom motorcycle on there. Even though the frame's better, even though the engine's better, every aspect of these bikes, when they're done right, is likely better than a factory Harley-Davidson. The thing that you don't have is an actual Harley-Davidson VIN number. And that right there absolutely trashes the value of these motorcycles, especially if you put a lot of money into one and you built one up and then you go to sell it. You're probably going to get a little shock when it comes to what people are willing to pay for it. Now, I understand that a Harley-Davidson motorcycle or a custom bike using an aftermarket Harley-Davidson-like engine is worth exactly what somebody's willing to pay for it. But say you put $30,000, $40,000, maybe more into one of these motorcycles, and then you go out and try to sell it, and you're having a hard time getting 15, 20 grand for it, just because of the simple fact that it was not originally titled as a Harley-Davidson. Now, you see this a lot when it comes to custom motorcycles that have a highly desirable Harley-Davidson engine in it, like a knucklehead, a panhead, or even a shovel head. People just don't want to give you a whole lot of money for them. I mean, if anything, they're buying them for the engine when you go back to pans and knuckles, and maybe even a shovel, but most of the time, you're really hard up on trying to get top dollar out of these bikes, especially if they are not titled as a Harley-Davidson and they're titled as a custom motorcycle. Now, if on the flip side of that, if you're looking at buying one of these custom motorcycles, there's some leverage for you right there. If it's titled as a custom bike, you can use that argument that it's not originally titled as a Harley-Davidson, so it's not really worth as much. Now, you could try it. Will it work? I don't know. That's between you and the seller. But at the end of the day, the other issue that you're going to run into is sometimes different states, you might have a little trouble registering a custom motorcycle. This is kind of why we saw a lot of the choppers and things like that from about 25, 30 years ago. These bikes were selling for 6 figures back in the early 2000s, and now you can't even give them away for $10,000 or $15,000. And if you do get a hold of one, most people are buying those for peanuts compared to what their original value was, just for the engine and some of the components off of them. And that's kind of sad, all that hard work and creativity went into those motorcycles just to have them tore apart for just the good parts on them, and the rest of it's pretty much junked or resold. So when it comes to custom motorcycles, when you put a shit ton of money in them with a frame, all the hot rod parts, maybe even a $10,000 engine, and you turn around trying to get $25,000, $30,000 out of these to sell them, it's probably not going to happen just because of titling issues. Now, custom motorcycles in and of itself, that is something that you really need to be versed on if you're going out and buying one of those bikes, because you might have a good aftermarket frame on it, you might have a hell of an engine in it, but just by looking at it, you really don't know who put it together. Now, if it is a off-the-shelf aftermarket frame, that right there, that's pretty decent. I could live with that. But if it's a home-built frame, I know I'm not a welder, but I could sure take a grinder and some paint, make it look pretty good. So definitely something to consider if you're looking at one of these kind of custom, really customized home-built bikes. And the sad part, as I mentioned, is that honestly, these bikes are probably a lot better than what came out of Harley-Davidson as far as the frame geometry, the engines in them, everything is a lot better. Now, on the flip side, if you're looking at building or buying a custom Harley-Davidson, get one, actually start with the Harley-Davidson frame. So that way you at least have the title that says this is a Harley-Davidson whatever, but that is the important part. And then you can build from there using the stock Harley-Davidson frame and do whatever you want with it and still retain the VIN number. Because unfortunately, that frame tells the story. Whatever that frame is with that VIN number etched in it, that is what matches the title, and that's basically what the government says the motorcycle is. Now, whatever you do, don't go down to Harbor Freight and get you a stamp kit and start stamping your own VIN number into your aftermarket frame or homemade frame. That right there will get you into a lot of trouble. That right there is a little bigger deal than taking your 883 and putting a 1200 kit on it and still retaining the 883 VIN number for the insurance company. That's a little further. That's kind of, pretty sure that's a little higher crime. So just whatever you do, don't go out and do that. But guys, I absolutely love custom Harley-Davidsons and some of the bikes that are built with all aftermarket parts, including a frame. But at the end of the day, we come down to the titling issues, and you lose a lot of money on these. So you're honestly better off buying a Harley-Davidson so that you have the title to a Harley-Davidson and then doing your build out from there. Now, if you're really invested in it, something you're going to keep and ride forever, and you understand that motorcycles are depreciating assets and they're not exactly a huge investment, a big money maker for as far as return after you build one like that, then it's perfectly okay to do that. And I think most of us that ride motorcycles and have bought, sold, and traded bikes, bought one, rode it for a little while, and went for something different, we know we're not making a lot of money on it. It is an expensive hobby. Now, I hate to say it, but when it comes to completely customized bikes like that with all aftermarket parts, it kind of goes back to putting a crate motor in your motorcycle. The issue with putting a crate motor in your Harley-Davidson is that the VIN number on the engine no longer matches the frame, and you get an overzealous cop out there that really is doing some fishing and trying to dig on you if you get stopped, and he starts checking your VIN number on your frame, and then checks your engine, it doesn't match, and they start accusing you of it being stolen or this and that. That's why I always say to document all that and maybe even keep a copy of receipts with you. It might get you back on the road and not in the back of a police car, even though the bike's not been reported stolen. And yeah, we could go on and on about that forever. But as always, with anything custom like that, it's really a gamble. And especially if you take it to another state, you bought it in another state, you try to register it in your state. I can't speak for every state, but they're probably going to want to inspect it. They're probably going to want to go through it, and they're going to scrutinize it just to make sure it's street legal because it says custom motorcycle. And what qualifies and is street legal as a custom motorcycle in one state may not transfer to another state. And even worst case scenario, depending on where you live, they may not let you register it because it's a custom motorcycle and they can't line it up with emissions and they have nothing to go off of. And that's the DMV and the government for you. It's an absolute nightmare. So guys, beware of custom motorcycles with all custom frames. Check those titles, make sure they got receipts, make sure everything lines up because, hey, you never know. There might be some hot parts on it, but who's to say? But yeah, guys, I want your opinion down in the comments. Would you feel comfortable buying or building a custom motorcycle? I'm talking completely custom with a custom title. Is that something that you want to get into? Or would you feel better just getting a Harley-Davidson that's maybe already got the VIN number, it's titled as a Harley, and save yourself a lot of hassle? But let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments. Let me know if you've even bought a custom bike and had any issues with something like that. But anyhow, guys, that's all I've got for you this week. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But until next week, guys, you stay safe on the streets, ride smart, dodge those cars. I'll catch you guys back here next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.